Hi, this is Yazzii, and I'm the designer of the Yazzii craft storage bags. I'm going to demonstrate our iron storage case today. The code is CA580. About 14 years ago in Australia, there were this size of a little mini iron that was sold at the various shows. And I thought of a bag that'll fit perfectly the iron with its cords and anything else. So this is your little mini iron, and these are the cords behind it. So we were able to sell these in Australia for many years, and I found as I moved into the US, these irons were still not readily available. And I did wonder about it, but it didn't matter because I figured, someday we'll get there. And this was working beautifully for the Australian crafters who actually owned an iron like this. When I did go to Houston a few times, occasionally I would have people buy this bag for this purpose. We have a center strip in here where they can be unpicked and it'll become a full iron storage case. That did fit the Rowenta iron, and it did fit your Clover irons in the US. So we were okay, but we didn't sell the numbers that we did in Australia because there were fewer people with those irons, and this iron was still not available. So anyway, about 4 or 5 years ago, we started noticing an increase in this particular, and the interest increased as well in this bag, because this iron was available in the US, and since then, we've just sold heaps of those bags, and it does work. Now, what I would like to say is often you're buying the bag, and then someone would contact me and say, my little iron doesn't fit in this particular version, but you just need to unpick this area. Also, look at the dimensions of the bags and don't try and fit something larger if it's not meant to be for this bag. The dimensions closed for this iron storage case is 22.5 by 10.5 by 9 centimeters, and it's 8.5 by 4.1 by 3.5 inches. So this is what it was meant to do initially. It has been used for various other little sizes of irons, and when you think about it, it's perfect for you to go to your class and carry it with you. Your next question, which is obvious, and I understand that totally, you're going to ask me if I can put a hot iron in this bag. No, you can't. The reason is we need a Teflon piece at the base, and for the price of this item, it'll cost too much for me to send that Teflon back to the factory in India and reship it to you. I get a lot of crafters say two things. They go to Joann's, they go to Michael's, they might go to Spotlight here in Australia. Whatever they do, they buy that $2 Teflon and they just set it up in the base of this bag and it works. Secondly, there's also a point of thinking saying that you never put a hot iron even at home on just a surface. So using some common sense, this should work actually. And for 14 years that we've sold this bag, we've had not a single customer who's come up and said that my iron storage bag was destroyed. So while you're chatting and saying goodbye to your friends in your quilt classes and your retreats, it takes 2 or 3 minutes for it to cool slightly, and this bag will work fabulously for you. So I hope you can appreciate this bag, and I know we've had people absolutely love them for many years.
Hi, this is Nicole Vogelsinger of Wild Boho. Today I'm going to be taking you through a tutorial, step by step, how to applique and embroider this bag. This is the Yazzii Iron Storage Bag, and inside perfectly fits the Oliso Mini Project Iron. I have a purple iron and a purple bag. You can coordinate however you like, and I will put links for everything in the description of this video. So I'm going to talk you through picking a fabric that you love, cutting it up, appliquing it onto here, and then beginning the embroidery process. So let's get started. So I have my fabric, I have an ironing board, and I have my iron. First, I'm going to turn on my iron, and the cool thing about this is it says that there's a resting side. So when you store it, this one says storage side. You store it that way, and you can hang it up or put it in your Yazzii pouch. But when you're using it, you're going to flip it to where it says resting side, and then I turn it on. I'm using a cotton fabric, so I turn it all the way up. And I'll let that heat up for a minute. So this is the piece of fabric that I'm using. It's an Anna Maria Horner print. It's one of my favorites. I've done embroidery with this before. You can see I have a section that I cut away. I'm not exactly sure what I want to use yet when I embroider my pouch, because there's so many really cool things in this fabric. I really like these vines. I like this leaf, the fern, a lot, and the vines that go up with that. And I like some of these flowers. I think it might be fun to add some of the pink flowers, some of the white flowers. So I think I'm going to press this section and see where we go from there. So I'm not touching the iron, I'm just feeling that it's warm enough. I'm going to press my fabric to get all of the wrinkles out. This helps when you embroider, because if you don't iron first, you're just embroidering over bumps and lines in your fabric. I've had this one folded up for a while, saving it for a project. And so I just want to get a lot of the lines out of the fabric. I don't let the iron sit on any section. I can just quickly run this little iron over it. And that's about good. I've got my fern. I've got these lines with the vines. I'm gonna cut a few of these flowers. I'm not sure which ones yet, so I'll just give this a little bit more of a press. So that's the first step. Find your fabric and iron it. And then I'm gonna show you next, we're gonna iron it again, but after we add a product. So I'm going to finish this up and then head on to the next step. So besides your fabric, an ironing board, and some general embroidery supplies, this is the only other product that you'll need for a project like this. This is the Heat and Bond Light. It's an iron-on adhesive. It says it's great for lightweight fabrics, machine applique, quilting. It's great for hand embroidery. I use it all the time. It has a dull matte side and a shiny side. So your fabric, you're always going to lay your fabric on the shiny side, and that's how you're going to iron it on. You can see my piece is in my fabric is cut into two different sections. The fern, I wanted to cut around some of the other elements so that I could preserve them. And so I've taken the biggest piece and laid it on flat. Now, the one thing that you don't want to do as you're ironing this on, you don't want your iron to touch the shiny Heat and Bond because it's going to get all gunky on your iron. So that's why I love using this iron, because it is small and the little point, I can easily keep it just on the fabric and not have to worry about it hitting the Heat and Bond at all and getting all sticky and gummy. So what I'm doing now is just lightly running the iron over my fabric. Because I'm using a small little desk-sized ironing board, I'm going to shift it around You can see I've got tiny little points, and this point is just brilliant for this sort of project. I can lift the iron up and just gently get those little sections down. You also don't want to let the iron sit on any section of this as you're ironing it. So I'm going to let it rest, shift my ironing board. I might turn this way. I like to check and feel. Your fabric is going to start to feel a little bit more solid once it's ironed on and you know that it's on. It's hard to explain it, but once you do it, you'll know what I'm talking about. So I'm just going to get those edges again really carefully. And then I'm just making my way down the length of this fabric, making sure that the heat and bond is secured to all the little edges. I might cut those little leaves out, so I want to make sure that it's adhered nicely. I'll move it down again. I'm going to keep ironing those edges. I like to do the fussy cutting after this point because it's much easier to fussy cut fabrics once they have the heat and bond adhered to the back of them. It's almost like you're cutting out a piece of paper rather than a piece of fabric that wants to bend and move all over for you. So the fussy cutting is so much more enjoyable once this is on it. And I'm going to shift it this way. I'm going to do a few more of these edges here. So I'm just going to keep doing this. I've got my fern. When I'm done this, I'll let it cool for a minute and then I'll just check and see. I'll make sure that it really is adhered on. If there's any sections that are still a little loose, I'll run the iron over them one more time. So I'm going to finish this up and then I'll talk you through the fussy cutting stage of this project. So we've come to what is my favorite part of the project, and that's fussy cutting. You can see that I have my fabric that's backed with the heat and bond. You can see when I hold it up, it doesn't fall. It's like I'm holding a piece of paper, making it super easy to fussy cut. I also like to use these Fiskars micro tip scissors. They're the spring action ones. I really like these because the micro tip is great for getting into tiny little sections. Now, I'm not going to cut these too carefully. For some projects, I might cut around every little green leaf that you see there. I'm not going to do that with this project. I also am not going to need this entire leaf. So I have my Yazzii bag here, and I'll show you what I'm talking about. I'm going to use my applique that we just created along the sides. Now, just to get an idea of size, this would be too big if I were to lay this leaf like that. I also don't really like how that looks. So I know I'm not going to use every piece of what I've cut out here. I might have it come up at an angle. So until I know the exact placement, I'm just going to roughly fussy cut around here. I'm not going to spend tons of time. The same with some of these other elements. I know that I really like these flowers, so I'll probably put a flower along there. That will mostly fit on, but I'm still going to lose some of the edges, and I'm okay with that for this project. I kind of want it to look like the flowers and vines are moving off the edges of this. I'm also not going to do it on the lid of this. I'm just going to have mine go around the sides of the bag. So, get comfy. This is where you're going to spend a lot of time just cutting out pieces that you're going to want to fussy cut, or that you're going to want to use on your bag. So, for instance, say I'm going to use this flower. I also do want some of the gray background to show, so I'm not going to cut too closely there because I really like the gray, and I think it'll look good against my purple bag. I can fix this up at any point, but I'm basically just going to cut little bits off, and you're going to keep the paper backing on until it's time to iron it onto your bag. Now you can see this didn't get hit with the heat as much. That's totally okay. It's still going to iron on when I get to that point, so I don't worry about that. And I'm going to keep fussy cutting, and then we will get to the next part of ironing this onto the bag. So I have been fussy cutting pieces from my fabric, and I have what I like to call fabric stickers because I still have the paper backing. I have a little sticker of fabric cut out, and now I'm going to decide on my placement. So I have my iron plugged in, and it's on the highest setting. I like to just run it carefully along my Yazzii bag to get a few of the little wrinkles out, also to get the surface a little hot. Now, I don't have an ironing board behind this. I don't recommend like holding the iron here and holding your hand behind it because it's going to get too hot. But if you're just doing this lightly, you're going to be fine. So I just get the surface hot. I am going to do something that's very hard after you've spent all this time fussy cutting. I want to use a portion of this, not the whole thing. So I'm going to snip a piece right here, and then I'm going to just cut these leaves off. Now I can use this piece, I can cut off little bits of it, attach it later, but I'm just going to set it aside for now. So now I have this piece, and I want to put it on the front of my bag, coming up like that. This is a fiddly part. It takes a little bit of patience. I'm going to take the paper backing off of my fern piece, and you'll see that I'm left with, it's shiny, and this is the adhesive part. So I'm going to place it right on the bag, coming up at an angle, and that's going to fit just perfectly there. I might shift it over a little bit. Again, I'm going to lightly press this on with the iron, just holding this in place. Now I'm also going to take a little mini ironing board that I have when I'm done, when it's all in place, just to put some more heat on it and really make sure that it's secure. I can feel the heat through the bag right now, but it's not burning me. It's not unbearable. It's just a little heat from the iron. You just really want to get it hot enough that it stays in place so that I can get my little ironing board and set it behind it. Okay, so now I have a little mini ironing board, and again, this is a tricky little spot here because it's the front of the bag, so I just have to adjust it, try and find the best angle where I can actually set the iron on it and really let it heat up. So you can see I'm gonna have to do this in little sections. It's a little fiddly. You might notice that the edges of your fabric don't want to stick onto this background to the bag, but that's fine because we are going to embroider over that. So you just want it on here enough so that you can embroider and it stays in place while you're doing the embroidery. So I'm going to keep doing that. I'm going to place my pieces. I might have to cut little bits off. But remember, once you decide on a placement, you peel the backing off and then hit it with some heat from your iron. I'm going to go all the way around, and I'll come back when I have a finished piece to show you. Okay, so I'm just ironing this last little piece on. And again, be really careful if you are doing this part without an ironing board behind the iron. I normally wouldn't recommend this at all, but this bag is made up of several really thick layers, so I barely feel the heat behind it. But just be careful as you're doing it. So I've got that piece on. I just hit the bag with one more bit of iron to really make sure everything's on there. This fabric is just gorgeous. I've been holding on to it for a while, waiting for the perfect project, and I think I'm really happy with how this one turned out. So we're getting it with the iron. Okay, let's zip it up and see how it looks. This is the final step before you start embroidery. I wouldn't recommend using your bag like this without it being embroidered, because although the heat and bond will keep the fabric on here, it's not a long-term solution, and it could, after a while, come off of the bag. So I like to do the next step of embroidery, and I'll share a few of the resources that I have on my YouTube channel, lots of embroidery videos. I can put the link for my Craftsy class in here, which is also embroidery, and I have 2 embroidery books that you can check out. But I'll talk you through the basics next, and then you are ready to embroider your own bag. So we have appliqued our bag. Here is what it looks like, what you will see when you have finished ironing all of your fabric on, and then take it up to the next level. This is what it will look like after you have embroidered it. Now, I don't recommend not embroidering it. The heat and bond will stay on and will adhere for a while. The more wear and tear that your bag gets, though, these little pieces are going to want to come off. So you don't have to fully embroider it. You don't need to embroider every little flower or every little leaf, but you do want on each piece of the fabric, you are going to want some thread and some stitches, because that's what's going to keep it on this bag. I'll show you the inside of what it looks like. Now, if you follow me on Instagram, you know that it doesn't bother me to see my work on a project. So the inside of this bag, there's a close-up. I've kept my stitches small. I haven't let my threads go from one end to the other. I don't have big pieces of thread. I've kept my tiny stitches in here. You do want to be aware of that, because you don't want your iron catching the stitches and catching the thread when you're putting it in and out of the bag. So you do want to be aware of that. But you do want some stitches on here. Also, with the embroidery of this bag, I start and end my stitches with a knot in the thread. So let's talk about threads first and all of the supplies that you'll need, and then I'll give you a few tips that you're going to want to keep in mind as you embroider. So you just need some basic supplies. This is a great needle collection. Any sort of embroidery applique needle. A sampler pack is great because it'll give you a lot of sizes, and you will need a variety of sizes as you are working with beads. These beads, these are size 8 beads, and then these are bugle beads. These have a very tiny hole, so I needed a really small needle to embroider these on. These I can get away with using a larger needle. So that's why a variety pack of needles really does help you with a project like this. As far as threads, I love the Suspargo Eleganza threads. These are made by Wonderfill Specialty Threads, and I'll put links for all of this below. These are really great. It's a thin thread, good for beading, but also if you just want to simply embroider this bag, these threads are great. They're really pretty, and they will hold up to the wear of this bag. And then just a pair of scissors. So very simple, the items that you're going to need for this. When you do get started, like I was saying, you are going to want to tie a knot at the start and end of your thread. So when I thread a needle, I tie the knot and I get started with stitching. And then when I'm done, after I've added beads, I tie off my thread and do a small knot inside. Especially when I'm working with beads on a project like this, where it is going to get moved around a lot, I like to tie a knot on to really secure my threads and stitches. As far as the best stitches to use for a project like this, I find it's best to keep it simple. Use the back stitch and the stem stitch. You can use them with or without beads. They will really stand up to the use that this bag will get. I have videos for both of those stitches on my YouTube channel, which I'll link below. as well as I've written 2 embroidery books, both boho embroidery. You can read more about it and learn other stitches. And if you really enjoy this and you want to take your applique and embroidery to the next level, check out my Craftsy class, where I encourage you to use your favorite fabrics as well as beads and threads to create textures and have fun with your embroidery projects. Thank you so much for watching. I can't wait to see what you create.
Iron Storage Case Large. I'm really excited about this one because it holds my little mini Oliso iron. It's got a really nice zipper top, and the iron can be stored inside, including its little sole plate, which is what's great for when you're pressing, and you can keep the iron on there while you are pressing, but also while you're storing it. Now, it is recommended that you don't put a hot iron in this case. This is designed for when your iron is all nice and cool. But I gotta share with you some of the things that I really like about the case is that everything can get in there. The cord can get wrapped around the iron. It can have the sole plate on it. And it's got 2 zippers, one on each side. So that way you can have the zippers all connect at the top of the bag or all in one direction. It's got a really nice little handle at the top, and it's deep enough to hold the iron, but a little bit of movement inside. It's got quilting on it, and the entire inside looks like it's fully lined. I have to say the construction is really beautiful. I think one of the cool things about this too is if you are a machine embroiderer, because this opens up completely flat, you could hoop a piece of sticky stabilizer, lay this on top of it, and even monogram your bag. So yeah, I'm really impressed with this one, and I think I might have to get another one to hold my other mini Oliso iron. But this is going to be great for traveling or even just storing in your sewing space.
I'm Rona the Riveter, also known as the Traveling Quilter. I travel the globe from quilt shows to quilt tours, shop hops to quilt retreats, and everything in between. Wait, don't close it yet. I got a couple more bags.
Why do you need all those Yazzii bags?
Because
Can't you just have a suitcase like the rest of us?
Because they all have a purpose. Like this one has my travel light in it because I mean, have you tried sewing in a hotel room? It's really dark. So I have to take my travel light. And then this one has my craft iron in it, which is of course the perfect size iron to take when you're traveling anywhere and want to quilt on the go. And then this one has my EPP in it.
The hell is PPP?
No, EPP, English paper piecing. That's the hand stitching that you see me with the... Anyway, this has all my EPP stuff in it, and I like to put it in the bigger one because I always have more than one projects going at once. Anyway, and then this one's my favorite. This one, first of all, it's my favorite color. But also, it is frog green, but also this one has it's enough room in here to put a whole project that I'm working on. I could take it with me anywhere. Plus, do you remember I actually took this with me as a carry-on on an airplane a couple months ago? Because it has not only room for a magazine, quilting magazine, it's got room for a project, hand stitching, it's got room in there for my wallet, passport, water bottle, and I think I even stuffed a couple of snacks in there too for the trip.
They have one for an IT guy?
Well, I don't know, you'd have to call.
Okay. What's their number?
Hey everybody, it's Kate Quinn from Fabricated Quilts. I don't usually do these random pop-up lives, but I'm so excited because I am traveling tomorrow and I am headed to New Jersey where I'm going to be teaching live. So it's been a long time since I've done that and I'm super excited about it. I can't wait to meet fresh faces and get out there and see people. And one of the things I wanted to share with you as I get ready to go is this is a lot of stuff I gotta pack up. And one of the things that I've always used in the past is my amazing Yazzii craft bag. So this is available from So Steady, but it's also available from Yazzii International. Yasmina is the designer of these amazing bags, and I met her several years ago at a show, and she's just such an amazing person. She's so easy to talk to, she's so creative, and just really a wonderful female talent in our world of craft and quilting items. So I'm going to show you my bag, and I'm going to show you how I pack it up. And it's been used a lot. You can see it's not new. It's been, something I've used a lot. And what I've done in the past is I actually color-coded my bags. So the blue bag was my high shank tool. So if I was going to a show and I knew I was going to be using high shank machine, then I color-coded everything so that all of my high shank templates would be packed up. And then I had a pink one, and I used that for all of my low shank tools, and a black one for all of my long arm tools when I was doing long arm instruction. And then I just had a random purple one because I liked purple. So I have several of them. They come in a lot of different colors. And let me just show you really quick. We'll do some awesome examination of this bag. So it's got some little elastic areas so I can put any of my marking tools in there. A lot of little small zips, but all of the pockets are clear so you can really see what's in it. So what I thought we'd do is I'm going to fit most everything that you see into my bag, and you can really see how I pack it up. I like these pockets that are big if I have a thin ruler set, like it doesn't have a lot of pieces. If I have kits that are bigger, like the circles on quilts or feathers, I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to put them in these larger pockets. So let's go ahead and start with that. The first one I've got, this is my Fun and Fancy collection, so I'm going to be sharing that with my group. And so I'll put that in there, and I kind of spread them out to make them a little bit flat so they can not stack up inside the bag. It's sort of a flat pocket. The other set that I have a lot of is the basic ruler work kit, which is the sampler set. There's 6 pieces in that, so that generally takes up a little bit of space. So I'm going to put that in one of these big ones also. So just put about 3 on each side. We'll kind of spread them out so that they can fit. And I can obviously see everything. It's really easy to find what I need. And that's really important because when I'm teaching, I don't have all the organizational systems that I might have at home. So this becomes my organizational bag. And then I try to stick things right back in there after I use them so I can find everything. So we'll zip these up. And then let's start filling up some of these other ones. So let's see what we got. These are my back-to-back templates, and I'm going to bring a couple of these because these are the other pieces that fit the Fun and Fancy set, so I could just share those with people. And let's see, where's my pocket? There we go. When I put some of these in, I like to take them out of the bag. It's kind of bulky to put them in the bag. But just in case I want to have this information, you can just fold that up, and I usually will just stick it right in the pocket with those same items. So, let's see. That bag's pretty tight. So this is my Circles on Quilts. I have both sets. I have set 1 and set 2. And I usually, if that's the same as set 3, it's all 4 pieces, but I usually have those kind of separated. And these are a little bit wide, so I can tell I'm having trouble being organized. This is what happens when you do random lives the night before you're getting ready to go. So let's see if these are a little too wide. I can just set them on there like that, and maybe that's not the best fit. I think these are a little wide. So let's go ahead and just reorganize, and we'll flip some things around so I can get my circles in there, because those are super important. I definitely need those. Okay, so they can fit kind of like that. You see I can have the big fan this way. I can get them right in there. And then let me stick those papers in there too. Where'd I put them? There they go. So that way I can just know what's in there. Then if anybody wants to see the instructions, I can just reach in and grab those. Let's start putting some of these little guys in there, some of these smaller pockets, because I have a lot of little things. right here, these are my 12-inch arcs that I'm using just for demo. I can show people the fat ones, the skinny ones, whatever. I usually keep all of those in there. I've got some of these little Yazzii craft organizing pouches right here, and this is my stitching line discs and my stable tape, and I like this because I could take this whole thing out and stick it under my sewing machine, and that way when I'm at the show I've got access to that, but they're not going to just fall all over like they would if I took them out of there. And inside this little craft pouch, I've got some of my extra feet. So I'm going to be working with a baby lock machine when I'm there, but I always bring the extras because people want to see what fits their machine. So that way I can just leave that in there. So I'll go ahead and I'll zip this up real quick, get those closed up right there. So basically that's sort of my feet set. We talked about the little elastic. Let's get these guys out of here because they're starting to fall down. These are all of my marking tools, and I can just put them right inside this elastic. I'll turn it this way so you can see. And I'm going to put these in there. There's quite a few of these. And if I have not enough room, let me show you. There's a cute little pocket right here. Whoop, and I'll just stick those in there. I'm going to leave this one out because I don't want to have him out of sight. He's important. But I'll stick these right in there. And, you know, I know that I've got stuff in there. I know that I've packed those because I have a packing list, so I'll know that they're in there. Then I've got some of these smallers. This is just a foot only. These are my Echo rings, and they're about the same size, and they could fit in one of these little zippy pockets here in the front, right there. So I can just stick those in there. Just put that bag right in there. It's not going to take up very much room. And then a lot of these things are little, they're kind of small, but these are my needle sets, woo, flying around. So I'm going to go ahead and just stick them in these little pockets right here. And this is my stable tape. He's going to fit very well right into that little pocket. Let's see what other little things we have. I think we can fit this in here. Put that in there. And this is just a single template. I just really like this. Many circles, super easy, all in one. So I can just stick him in there. And that's the nice thing about having the clear pockets. I can put more things in a pocket, even if they're not necessarily related, because I can see them. So let's go ahead and see what else we still have to fit in here. So let's see if we can break up this set, since I can fit 3 of these in each pocket. This is my sampler set. I took it out of that other pocket because those circles needed to go in there. So he's going to fit in there really nice. So I'm not having to crush anything. I didn't have to fight with the pocket. They fit in there really well. Let's see what's next. Ooh, I got another big one. Good, because I need that. Feathers need to go in a bigger pocket. So let's put those in there. Okay. And then let's see. This is all of my feet. There's actually, I think there's 5 of these. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. These are my ruler feet sets, include low shank, medium shank, high shank special, and my long arm ruler. So what I'm going to do, I can pretty much fit these all into this big pocket. And I'll fan them a little bit so they'll flatten out. Okay. So we'll just Velcro that. So that's pretty flat. So let's see how we're doing. Right now, I can totally zip up this bag, right? There's no problem. I mean, he's not even pooched out at all. So let's see what we have left. Let's kind of get organized over here so we can see what's left. Still got to get these back-to-backs and a bunch of little bits and things. I don't need those or that, so I'm going to leave that there. And let's put the rest of these guys in here. This guy's kind of big. I want him to be sort of at the back of a pocket, so let's see if we can put him into something that was already in here. Maybe he would fit good behind these feathers. He's kind of a big ruler by comparison to some of the others. So let's start putting these back-to-backs. Some of these might be too long. I'm not sure if I can fit those in there. So we'll just leave those. I think these are all going to be the same size, so they may not fit in there. So let's put the rest of these in there. This is my polish kit. I need tape a lot of times when I travel. And then I've just got some little accessories, a little tweezers, my pin keeper, my little scissors, and I'm probably going to find my little cover for him because he's kind of sharp. I wouldn't want to put something in the Yazzii bag with those plastic pockets without that cover on there. So he fits in there, but I'm going to leave him out for just a minute because I got to find the cover for him. I don't want him making trouble. All right, so let's see where we're at. Okay, and we'll put our little seam ripper in there too. And let's see how we're doing. Pretty good, pretty good. Okay, let's get these in here. I can just put those, there's lots more pockets right here. I'm not even full. I've got more room in here. I could put some more stuff in there. Hey guys, I'm so excited to see you. It's like all my buddies are here. Hi Peggy, hi Nancy, hi Sandy, hi Carla, hi Joyce, hi Milagros, Barbara. You guys, I'm so excited because I'm traveling. I'm getting ready to go and I can't wait. I feel like we've been in COVID jail, right? Okay, so these little guys, let me show you. These are a little bit long and I don't have another large pocket that's left. So I could possibly take some of maybe the fun and fancy, and I could split those up. I've got some of these extra pockets right there that I could probably put them in. And then I would have a large pocket to put the last of those in, because this one I think I could split it up. So let's just go ahead and do that. They're just going to require a larger pocket because they're longer. And I can put both of these sets in there pretty easily like that. And you know what I'm going to do too? I'm going to put the one more because I know that they won't fit in the short pocket. So I'm going to put them with this partner, and I know that I can make everybody fit. So that's filled up, and then I got this one little area left. So we'll put these little guys in there. And then we'll be done. We'll be ready to go. I've already packed all my clothes. I also packed all of my stuff. My cosmetic bag is my Yazzii bag, and my jewelry bag is my Yazzii bag too. So we'll show those on another day, but for right now, we're just going to put these in there. So one other thing, I'm going to just ask, Honey's helping me. In one of the plastic drawers right there, Honey, in the second, there's like some of those little books right there, close to you. The black drawers. Right there. In the second drawer down, there's some like little books and stuff like that in there. Yeah, any one of those. If you can just give me one of the spiral bound ones. Thanks. So, product placement. This is my Fun and Fancy sampler, and this is my ruler workbook. This is using the crosshair squares. This was written by Leonie West, and it's the inspiration guide for the crosswords project. So, what happens with this is if I wanted to put all of this together, because of the way that the bag is organized, it's got this big deep gusset. So right now I can literally zip that up, and all of that stuff now is in my Yazzii bag. And I could just take it to class, and I have all of the tools I need, and they're all in one place. And I can lay out the bag flat. When I get there, I just unzip it like this, and I just leave it on my table space. I take out a few things that are, you know, like the scissors and a couple of things you're going to need, the pins, but then I can stay organized whenever I'm in that travel situation. The other thing I like about this is if the bag's not really full, mine's pretty full, I can actually take a book, an 8.5 by 11, and I can actually fit the book right in there. And you can see when I close that up, so if I have a quilting magazine or some pattern project, whatever I'm working on, I can put it right inside the bag with me. And I'm going to show you one more amazing thing, so bear with me. Okay. You guys know, we've got to have our glider with us, right? Because it's so important. We use it all the time. This will fit right in the top of the bag, like that. So let's zip it up. I'm proving that it's actually going to zip, right? It does. It works. It's so awesome. So we have this through the So Steady. We have it in apple green. It's kind of like a sagey green, you know, a deep color. And then we have, this is the turquoise, which is very popular. This is probably our most popular color, I think, and the purple one. We have black. The purple is this color. It's a really pretty purple. And then the pink one, I think I have the pink one right here. Yeah. And then, of course, pink is my favorite. Pink is fancy, so I like pink. So that's my pink one. So you can see we have a lot of different choices, and if you shop with Yazzii International, she's even got them like in beautiful red colors. So she's going to have more colors. So Steady has sort of a representative sample, and the bag's a little bit expensive, but there's a lot of amazing detail on it. Here's another example of there's even more. If you're traveling and you want to just put like your ID right in a little secret pocket, you can just put it right there, or put your ticket in there or something like that. Quick reference thing that you need can go right on the outside, and it has a nice long handle, so when you put it over your shoulder, you can distribute that weight, but you can hold it close to your body and keep it so that you're not like dragging it or whatever. And I can hang it over my suitcase as well. So it's not just for travel. I mean, you can use it for anything, but I thought it would be a really fun thing just to show you how versatile the bags are and how powerful they are in the sense that they can really hold a lot and they can be super organized. And I've had this bag probably, at least 5 years, right? So it's been used a lot. I mean, you can see it's not new. It's been used a lot and kind of beat up on the bottom. But it's held its shape, you know. It's really lasted. You know, none of the stitchings come out. The zippers are all working. And none of the pockets are punctured. The gauge on the pocket is very, very thick, so it's nice and sturdy. You know how those rulers can be. So anyway, I'm ready. So if you're in New Jersey, I'm coming to see you. All right, so sign up if you haven't. I'd love to meet you. Have a great night, you guys, and I'll miss you this weekend, but I'll be back. I get back in town on the 23rd, and I'll be basically teaching almost every day for the rest of the month after that. So hope to see you guys, and have a great night. Take care. Honey's going to cut me off right now because I'm supposed to be already packed by now. Take care. Bye-bye.